When I do my dishes, I prop my phone up and I put on a video wherever it is. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's slop, sometimes it's just something I want to learn. And I was flicking through a couple of videos as I was washing up, and it came through to this journalist covering the Unite the Kingdom's march. And I was watching, and as they do, they go around, they speak to the people that are protesting, what they think, and their opinions, stuff like that. And someone brought up about how he slipped through, and like that's crazy how he's even within the march. It's pretty insane. And what I learned was Keir Starmer banned, I think, 11 activists that were going to speak at the march. And I believe maybe even some journalists or people that were going to cover it. Now, I couldn't care too much for the people that are going to talk. I personally don't think people should be banned for talking, but that's for another argument. The argument I'm trying to put forward today is that having people cover an event, any event, is very imperative from all sides. There should be as many people covering every event as possible. Because the thing is, if you limit the amount of people that are covering it, let's say one person or one company that covers one event, they can twist, manipulate and push a certain narrative. Now, if you have 10, 20, 30, 100 people, it's very hard to do that in any which way. Because you can look at all the evidence from all people covering it, whether they lean to the left or to the right or they're smack down the middle, they will not be able to manipulate it nowhere near as much, because you can look at all the different points of views, all the different things that are captured. And so it's very hard then to move you a certain way, which is really, really good. So, I know he banned some activists, and I was trying to look to see if he had banned journalists or if, journalists weren't really allowed in there. Now, whether they lean left, right, down the middle, I don't care. If they're a journalist and their job is to cover, I would say to allow every single journalist as much as possible to cover it. Now, speaking again is a different topic. I do believe that freedom of speech is really important. I do also understand how it can stir up a lot of feelings in people, but the thing is, if it's stirring up a lot of feelings in people, there's probably a little truth behind it, right? Wherever it is. And so I don't believe that silencing people is a good thing. I really don't think that's a good thing. Anyway, whilst I was looking to see if Keir Starmer had banned journalists in particular, I came across a video of him talking. It's about a minute long, and he's talking about United the Kingdom's march, and he talks about how this march is making hate, it's making divide, it's very hateful, it's run by crooks and criminals or thugs, I think he said. And that is a very, very scary thing to say, because when you group people together and you stamp them, or you, wipe them with the same brush, or I forget what it's called, but you're stamping them with the same thing, that's terrible. We have seen this time and time again in our history where we group a bunch of people together and we go, they're the same people. They're all bad. They're all this, they're all that. No, let's not do that. Because as Keir Starmer, if I was talking to him right now, I would say that if you are labelling everyone in this protest the same person, they're all thugs, they're all this, they're all that, they're all hateful and divideful, I could also say to you that there are some people in that march that say the same thing about other cultural groups and other religions, and they're not right. It's actually really bad. And the thing is, what they're doing is exactly what you just did. So you're no better than them. That's really bad. Understanding that one organisation, one group are not made up of the exact same people. They all have different opinions, different views. Yes, they rally behind a similar thing, but that doesn't mean they agree with everything Tommy Robinson says or everything that a really extreme activist says. No. So, painting them with the same brush is a very dangerous thing to do. And yeah, I would argue that there are some people at that march that do that exact same thing. And then you're calling them bad, but you're doing the same thing they are. Horrendous, absolutely horrendous. There is so much divide in England right now, and it's very upsetting to see, because as a kid, I grew up around so many different cultures, races, ways of living, ways of thinking, and I thought that was quite normal, right? But actually, it's actually quite unique, because if you go around, most countries and most places, that's not the case. So I actually feel quite blessed. I think a lot of people in my generation, a lot of people that grew up, especially in London, are very grateful for those things. So it's upsetting to see a lot of hate for immigrants in general. Now, again, I understand it though. There's a difference between illegal immigrants that come in by the masses, and then immigrants that come here and they come and they integrate and they're respectful and they contribute to the society, and we love them. Trust me, we love them. Yeah, I think if that was not the case, we wouldn't be as diverse as we are. So to label English people as hating immigrants is pretty insane. We rely and we indulge in a lot of things that immigrants bring to this country, and I think you'd be silly if you didn't think you did, right? A lot of English people will complain that they want to be the majority in England, which I guess is understandable, but I've never really understood that, because I don't think I've ever been the majority. I mean, even myself, I'm not even really fully English. So, yeah, I was born here and I was raised here, but if you were to make a group of English people, I don't think I would even be in there, Yes, I've got English blood, but not all the way. So, where would I lie, And I don't think I've ever been in the majority ever for any of my my blood, right? I've never cared. I've never cared about it. It has no effect to the way I've lived at all. So I think it's kind of strange, but I can definitely understand that maybe if you was the majority at one point, maybe it feels a bit weird, maybe it feels a bit scary because you don't know. And unfortunately, I think I can definitely understand it. At the same time, I would tell that same person that if you could just understand and have a bit of empathy towards other cultures and races and so on and so on, you'd realise that it's all right. You're good. You're not going to be slain. And I think the other problem or the other feeling that a lot of English people have right now is that they are feeling like they're second-class citizens, right? They are not the priority. And in that, I don't know if I know enough to talk about it, but I can understand how that would upset people. Over the past couple of years, illegal immigration has shot up exponentially. And when people come into our country illegally, we are very nice. Normally, we don't send them back, and normally we give them food and we give them shelter. We give them a little allowance and stuff like that. And that's great. I truly believe that's great if done for the right reasons, right? If you really cannot go back to your country, if it's honest, if it's genuine. And the problem here is that a lot of people that are coming into the country right now are not being honest, are not being truthful, and they know that they can get away with it because our laws here are very weak, and that is just taking advantage. That's unfair. It's taking advantage of the niceties that England has built up over many years. And I think in that fact, it is very, very unfair. And again, if this was years ago and 100,000 illegal immigrants come in and we could sort them out and help them, we could. And we didn't really ever notice the problem with it. It was because it was so small. And I think over the past couple of years, it's gotten so big that it's like, whoa, this is actually affecting a lot of people now, and that is now on our radar so that a lot of people are arguing back. I think Keir Starmer labelling everyone is a racist and, a fascist and all these things is honestly crazy. Not to say that there isn't, because there definitely is some racists in that march, without a doubt. But labelling everyone in that march a racist, come on, man. You know better to be labelling a whole group on the same thing. That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. I think once you label people, you also put a target, right? You also now have opposition, these people that are all crammed into one ball. This ball is the target. This ball is the problem. Everything in it. Everything in this ball is the target. I want to end this by saying free speech is really, really important. And whether you're this side, that side, up and down, left and right, diagonal, I don't care. You should always fight to protect free speech. Humans are not always right in what we think. And we need sometimes another human to come about and say, that doesn't seem right, mate. And sometimes, very few times, especially if you're a politician, you'll go, do you know what? I was wrong. You're right, let's do it a different way. Because they gave you a different viewpoint. They gave you a different opinion that made you change your mind. And that is important with humans. We're very, very rubbish at admitting when we're wrong. And so we need free speech to allow other people to check us, allow other people to put another viewpoint in our mind. For us then to take it home and balance it up and see which one's right. Am I still with what I was saying, or have I changed, or have I altered? Anyone trying to dismantle free speech, whether it's benefiting you one hand and not in the other, you should always fight against that. Because free speech allows you to speak your mind and your opinions and your thoughts, and allows you to have a good conversation with someone and allow them to see the light, or maybe they allow you to see the light. If we don't have that, then we are going to be in one hellhole. We're just going to have everyone thinking they know what's right, no one ever talking about it, and then everyone just doing what they please or what they think is the best solution without even talking about it.